Welcome back. It's me, Lou, and I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review. And today is a double feature. We have some Mattel WWE Top Picks Must-Have Superstars, and we have here the big dog himself, Roman Reigns. And right next to him, we have his cousin, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. So, let's get this started. Alright, so one of the reasons why I chose to do a double feature on these figures is, for one, I believe they're from the same wave. And number two, I'm lazy and I'd rather kill two birds with one stone and do a review with two figures as opposed to do them individually. And these are from the basic line of figures. They're not the elite line, so there's not like a whole lot to review. You know, there's no accessories. These are very bare bone action figures, but I love them. They're affordable, they're great, and they're fun to collect. So let's get this started, and let's start with The Rock first. Okay, so we have a Top Picks Must-Have Superstars, The Rock. And as we can see here, this is one of the later iterations of The Rock. This is where he's bald. This one still has the Brahma Bull. A few years ago, I believe The Rock got rid of it. He covered it over with something else. And here he has his merch shirt, Mr. Brahma Bull, with the American flag colors on it. And if we spin to the back, it's WWE Top Picks Must-Have Superstars. We have that hologram, so you know that you're getting an official licensed WWE product. And we have The Rock. And then, as opposed to giving him his own bio, here's just a generic, broad statement about this line in general. They are champions. They are main eventers. They are among the most popular, larger-than-life, fan-favorite superstars in WWE. No action figure collections complete without them. That's why they are the top picks. So the top picks, these are the kind of figures, they're almost like the evergreen figures in the sense that when you associate yourself with like WWE, you know, there's always going to be certain performers that you're always going to think of. You can think of like The Undertaker, you can think of like John Cena, Steve Austin, you can think of The Rock. And those are kind of like the foundations and the mainstays. And if you're a kid, those are the kind of like main characters you kind of want. So that's what the top picks are. And in this specific wave, it included The Rock. There was a Kofi figure, a Roman Reigns, and a Cena. And today we're looking at The Rock and the Roman Reigns. So let's get this guy out of his bubble. And first impressions, while the figure's still in the tray, it's alright. It's decent. It's what I come to expect. The Rock, I'm not sure if he's necessarily known for having like the most extravagant gear. His gear is it's kind of generic. You know, he just has the briefs, the elbow pads, knee pads. He kind of has these trademark boots though, where there's like a cutout and his calf muscles are kind of exposed. Yeah, it's very basic. No pun intended for what this figure is, but I don't know. It's not the greatest Rock, but it's all right. It's a good Rock to have if you're a kid and you want the Rock like cutting promos in his merch shirt, or if you want to pretend this is his like entrance gear as he's walking to the ring. You know, he still has his shirt on before he takes it off. Sculpt wise, the head's dead on. It looks like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. See, I have some tattoos. This isn't the most recent iteration of The Rock, so the modern Rock has, I think, a lot more tattoos than this. And as I stated earlier, his trademark Brahma Bull tattoo, I believe he's covered that up. So in terms of articulation, it's very basic. You know, his head, it's a tight fit, but it will spin around. I don't want to force it right now. His arms rotate, they go out. The elbows bend, but due to the elbow pad It's not an easy bend unless you move it out of the way. And I would suggest you check first before you bend it also, because my arm was twisted. It wasn't properly placed. And speaking of elbow pads, The Rock, some of his elbow pads on his classic gear, I believe it had the Brahma Bull logo on his elbow pad, I think. But this is a basic figure, so they're not going to give you that detail. It's just more money for them to spend. His wrists are articulated. They even bend. Waist swivel, his knees move, but the knee pads kind of hinder it. Does he have a boot swivel? No boot swivel on this guy. It's a very basic figure. But the nice thing with these is that these are affordable. These are like $9. So a sub $10 action figure is always a good thing. I knew someone years ago that they didn't collect the elites. All they collected was the basic figures. And I know a lot of people, some collectors aren't very fond of the basic figures, but if you just want some figure representation and you're a fan of the WWE and you don't mind spending $9 on an action figure, it's the way to go. The elites are a lot more expensive, but you get what you pay for, especially with those. They come with more accessories. The figures are a little bit more premium. They're sculpted better. The articulation's much better. And there's, I don't know, for these, I don't know, they're not on the same level, but if you're a child or if you're a casual collector and you just want, figure representation of your favorite wrestlers, these top picks and some of their basic lines are great. You're only spending $9. And I think no collection's complete unless you have a Rock figure. There's certain WWE characters where, you really need them in your collection. You need a Rock, you need an Austin, you need a Cena, a Hogan. This the guys you think of that really carry the company. An Undertaker. So yeah, that's our Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson action figure. And let's move on to Roman Reigns. So we have here the big dog himself, Roman Reigns. Now this is pre-COVID Roman Reigns. This is when Roman was still a good guy. He's a face. He has a smile. This is before his head of the table gimmick, which I like a lot. I think he's doing some great work there. I like this Roman a lot too. It's just because I like Roman when his hair is tied up in the man bun. And same description as we had before. And here's a portrait of Roman and his wave mates. First impressions while the figure's still in the tray. It's cool. I dig it. They've given us so many Roman Reigns action figures. It seems like with every wave, there's always going to be a Roman figure. And I don't mind. I think he's a popular character. Kids love Roman Reigns. Adults love Roman Reigns. And it's cool. This is a more casual look. He doesn't have this tactical vest or his body armor. This is his merch shirt with the sleeves cut off. Now, sculpt-wise, his face is dead on. This is Roman Reigns during happier times before the pandemic. And here he is with his hair tied up in the man bun. There's his gimmick logo where he's doing the Superman punch. He's wearing his merch shirt with the big dog on it. Now, I can't... I don't mind the big dog nickname, but I hate the logo on his uniform that has the dog face on it. I just like the Roman logo where it's just the initials. He has his tattoos. Nice, clean, printed details. Same articulation as the Rock figure. Swivel, waist, knees. This one has boot swivel. And it's a decent figure. For $9. It's under $10. It's great. And here they are. We have the cousins. Oh no. Are they going to kiss? Are they going to kiss? Okay. And since we're on the subject of The Rock and Roman Reigns, I have a couple of other figures we can compare them to. Here's another Rock figure. I can't remember if this belongs to the top picks also. It might have. This is a much more casual look of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And this is the more modern Rock. As you can see, he has more tattoos. He's covered up the Brahma Bull. That's gone. So I want to say I think this might be how he looked as recently as maybe, I don't know, 2 years ago, possibly. It's a cool figure. I mean, if you need a Rock that's like, since this is a more modern Rock and Rock doesn't really wrestle anymore, if you need a modern Rock that's just visiting Raw and he wants to like hang out with like, you know, the Usos or Nia Jax or whatever in the back, you know, you have this guy come out. It's cool that he's in different gear. It's awesome. I like it. I think they share the same heads. Yeah, these might share the same head. The paint app isn't the greatest. This one has lighter eyebrows, but I'm not sure if that's a manufacturing issue. This one has much darker, bolder tattoos. This one's, the ink's a little bit more on the dark bluish gray, whereas this one's a little bit more black. In terms of Roman action figures, we have a couple of basic Romans we could compare them to, and we have an elite Roman. Alright, so, there's like a piece of my hair, okay. I'm like shedding. My hair is like growing uncontrollably, and I'm like shedding right now. Okay, so we have two basic Roman action figures. One of these, or both of them, might actually belong to the Top Picks lines also. And they're slightly different. They do share the same mold, but as you can see, the paint application is different. This one has the Roman Reigns logo I like, where it's just the initials and they're mirroring each other. This one has the Roman Reigns logo, but there's that silhouette of him doing the Superman punch. The head sculpts are different on this. This is actually a really good head sculpt on this figure. This one looks like what you expect from like a basic $9 figure. It has a much more blah, generic kind of look to it. The sculpting's not that crisp and the cuts aren't that deep. It still looks like Roman Reigns, but this is the full bearded Roman. This is a little bit more cleaned up Roman, and the head sculpt is a lot better. This almost looks like an elite head sculpt, which I don't know, maybe they do share the same mold or digital files, but this one has a better looking face, but this one has the full beard. And it sucks because I like this one's uniform better because of this logo, but I like this face more. And I could just hypothetically just swap the heads out, but then it wouldn't be the original figures. Paint job wise, this is where it gets kind of weird also. They're the exact same sculpts, but as you can see here, his spine design, the paint application's a lot tighter, the design's a lot smaller. Here, the design's painted out to be a little bit broader, even though they're the same sculpt. I think this looks better than this one. And if you look close enough, you can see the difference in detail in the hair. There's a lot more going on this one than this one. There's a lot more strands sculpted in, and the detail's a lot more deeper cut. So of these three basic figures, I like this one's head the most, but I like this one's body. And if you want to be weird, you can like imagine them like in some sort of alternate dimension where these three meet, and then they start making out with each other. And speaking of Roman Reigns, we have, I believe this might be the first Roman Reigns Elite figure, I think. It definitely shows its age. It's not as nice as the newer Elite figures. The head likeness is, I think for back then it was probably dead on, but when you compare this head with this head, the difference is like night and day. Like this looks like a miniature. This looks like the real life Roman Reigns, and he got shot with like a shrinking laser, and he shrunk down to action figure form. And this one's kind of like, you know, sculpt me Roman Reigns' head from memory, and it kind of looks like it, but it kind of doesn't. And this is during the period of time when Roman had blue eyes, whereas this one, he kind of lost the contact lenses, and it's a natural brown-eyed look. This is the weird blue-eyed Roman Reigns. And it's like I said, this shows its age in terms of figure engineering. Has all the cuts and swivels that you expect from like a highly articulated action figure, but it just doesn't look as nice as it should. It's a decent figure. I'm glad I got it. And it's like I said, I think this is the first Roman Reigns Elite action figure. If I'm wrong, correct me down below. And I think that's it. That kind of wraps up our double feature of these awesome wrestlers. So if I had to rate these figures numerically, I want to say I'd give this... Now, this is barring Elite figures. Now, I'm just judging this on the basic level. So, as a basic action figure, I really want to give this guy a 9. But I think that's a bias just because I like this look of Roman Reigns a lot. But realistically speaking, it's probably like a 7. 7 to 7.5 at the most. This figure is probably a 6.5 to 7. It's alright. Nothing to write home about, but it's The Rock. So yeah, let's wrap this up. Once again, my name is Lou. Thank you again for checking out this video. I'm glad that you dropped by. So, I hope you're better informed about, your action figures, especially when it comes to buying The Rock or Roman Reigns. Go out there and buy yourself some wrestling action figures. And I will talk to you later. Take care.